Hey everybody, about a week ago, I asked for your guys' input and get some questions for a question and answer session. Today, we're gonna go through those questions. Hey everybody, Doug Croc Gardener here. Hey, I really appreciate everybody submitting all their questions for this Q&A session. Hopefully I can do this, maybe once a quarter or something along the lines of that, and answer any questions that you guys may have on the channel. It also helps me because it does drive up some engagement stats for me as well. So I really appreciate doing this. Let's get started. All right, I have my notes here. We got several questions here. A lot of these are coast to coasters, so I really appreciate you guys doing that. Watching my channel and following up with me. If you haven't seen the Coast to Coast YouTube stuff going on yet, go to Chad's channel, Down Home Backyard Gardening, and check it out. Once a month we have a Coast to Coast video. We have all people across the country that give an update on the garden and what they have going on. So the first one here is from @Bowtie-Life. Go check out his channel. He's down in Florida by Destin, I believe. He says, "How flat is your landscape?" I appreciate you, brother. Well, I appreciate you too. We are really flat out here. I mean, I have not a single hill in my yard. Matter of fact, my landscape is so flat that we have pooling water sometimes. So that does cause some issues with my garden sometimes, and the yard, and different things like that. It's hard to get the water to flow to the ditch sometimes. So we are really flat. I mean, we're talking like 0 degrees flat. There's no grade to it at all. With that being said, I know that alleviates some other problems that you could have. If you had a hilly garden, you would have to worry about wash off and runoff and all that stuff. So we really don't have to worry about that around here. So we are pretty grateful for that. We kind of overcome the flatness. Sometimes the flatness is overcome with my raised beds. I know in the spring I can get a lot of stuff in before a lot of my other neighbor gardeners because of I got the raised beds and I'm raised up. My garden has also been raised up so high too because of all the layers of mulch that I put on over the years. Down Home Backyard Gardening. Hey Chad. So he says, look at all the Coast to Coast fam asking all these questions. Awesome. What made you decide to start a YouTube channel? What advice would you give to somebody that's starting one? Well, first off, I started my YouTube channel thinking, oh, it's gonna be lucrative. I'm gonna get some money. That's not the case. I'll tell you that. That's definitely not the case. That wasn't the only reason I started a YouTube channel. I love being out in the garden. I thought, well, why might as well film it. Kind of have a companion out here in the garden with me sometimes. I know Kid Croc comes out here, but there's a lot of times I'm out here by myself and I'm talking to myself. So why not talk to the camera? Basically, with that in mind, I thought maybe I could teach a little bit. I could provide some people with some information and just have a video log for myself on what I did from year to year to year. I do go back on my videos and I watch myself. I'm not vain like that, but I do watch myself to see what I did from year to year to year. It's like, when did I start that last year? It worked out real well. I'll go back and I can see I got a video log of it. So the advice I would give to somebody about starting a YouTube channel: one, don't do it for the money. You have to be genuinely interested in your content. You have to be genuinely interested in producing something that people are gonna watch. You gotta be excited about your content. You gotta be passionate about your content. If you're passionate about your content, I think it'll show through your videos. I know with Chad, your passion definitely shows through all your videos. I know the rest of the Coast to Coasters, their passion shines through all their videos. That's what makes these people successful. Don't do it for the money. If you're gonna do it for the money, I would suggest maybe doing another niche. I know in the gardening niche, you're best off if your passion shines through your videos. I would also make about 10 videos before I put my first one out. And then you could release those 10 videos if they're good enough, but you're gonna get better and better with your videos as time goes on. Growing a Green Finger. Love your channel, by the way. What are some long-term plans for the garden? Will you make it bigger? What haven't you grown or that you would like to? So, I have secretly been kind of expanding my garden every year by about a foot or two. I have not expanded my garden in the last 2 years. Last 2 years, I've made priority of taking the space that I've gotten and make it more efficient. 2 years ago, I expanded my beds. I took away some walkways and expanded my beds to make more room for plants and different things like that. So that's really helped out things. I doubt I'm gonna make it any bigger. If I do make it bigger, I'm gonna go to the south here, or no, to the west here. I do have comfrey on both sides that border my garden. I like that because whenever I'm mowing lawn, the grass doesn't kind of seep in and different things like that. In terms of long-term plans, I am kind of where I'm at right now with the garden. I believe that I am at a point where I'm just trying to fine-tune things in the garden. For example, next year I'm going to make dedicated spots and see where things work out the best. Right now I have sweet potatoes growing all over the paths and everything else. I have a feeling if I put them in a different bed where I can let them grow out into the yard a little bit, I'll be better off. That way I'm not stepping on them when I'm trying to walk through the paths and different things like that. So I need to do a little bit better planning. I feel like maybe not do the crop rotation as like I do in the past, just to kind of keep things in there. I think I do a good job with replenishing my soil, so I don't have to worry about that crop rotation stuff. What haven't you grown that you would like to? Let's see here. What would I like to grow that I haven't really grown right now? I got a couple things I'm working on. One is the cold hardy kiwis. I love fruits, so I'm trying to grow more fruits. This year I grew a bunch of cantaloupe. That worked out real well for me. Some of the melons I got from Baker's Creek were not the greatest. So, I mean, they were so-so. I got some red roselle hibiscus over here that I'm growing. I'm trying to grow those so I get the calyxes off and make those into some teas. I don't think there's really one plant that I would like to grow that I haven't. I sure wish I could get some heading broccoli a little bit better. Different things that I need to work on, I guess. Oh, and those Brussels sprouts. I tell you what, I'm gonna get those down one of these days. Hippie Chicks Homestead. What do you do with your excess food you harvest? Do you give to friends, donate to food banks, throw it on the compost heap, etc.? And do I do any worm composting? Well, first off, let's address the worm composting. I don't really necessarily do worm composting per se. I don't have bins for worm composting. I do have little containers that I do put in my garden, so I got in-bed worm composting. I do fill those up from time to time. I do have a cold Lazy Man's compile pile back in the back. I don't ever hardly use that. I turn it over once a year and then I spread it out on the garden once a year. So that's as far as I do for composting and worm composting. As far as excess food, I do give some to the neighbors. I do try to can most of it. I do try to preserve most of it or eat most of it. So there is some things that I do have a lot of excess to. If I do have some excess, usually it's still out in the garden and it's sitting out there and it's either gone to seed or rotten or something, or it's not edible, then that stuff does go into the compost pile. So Growing Together a Garden Story asks, I will mix it up a little, and I'm sorry I'm late, but hopefully still in time. What camera do you use for your videos and what microphone? So right now over here, I'm speaking into my GoPro Hero 11. It works perfectly fine. And then over here, I have my cell phone. I was using an Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max earlier. Now I switched just recently over to the Pixel XL, Pixel Pro XL. So I got a really simple setup. I do have a Hollyland Lark 2 mic system. So you'll notice sometimes I wear it as a necklace and sometimes I have it magnetic. Right now I got it magnetized. Sometimes you'll see me wear the dead cat if it's real windy. But basically it's got a piece that comes in here. And it does have 2 mics, which is really, really, really handy, especially when I'm recording with Kid Croc. Plugs right into the USB-C outlet on my phone, and it works real well. To get the 2 cameras to sync, I usually have a hand clap beforehand, and that hand clap will let me take it into my video software and sync the 2 cameras. So I've just been experimenting with that. I'm trying to do my 1% of improving my channel by 1% every so often. So we're working on that as well. Very good question. I'm curious on what everybody else out there uses. If you guys are doing your videos, what kind of cameras are you using? Put those down in the comments down below. I'm very curious if you guys got something that's different. OSKG asks, what's the weirdest thing that you have grown in your garden? The weirdest thing I would probably say right now that I'm growing are probably my cold hardy kiwis, because that's kind of a thing nobody has. The walking onions, I love my walking onions. They're not really weird, but they serve a great purpose, but it's something else that nobody really has. I don't know what else I could say. I got the comfrey plants that I grow. I mean, that's kind of a common thing, but not really. As far as weird goes, I know nothing's gonna be weirder than you, Dale. Sorry, I have to say that, but I'm just joking, by the way. But I tried some of those thorny jelly melons that you had last year. Those just didn't come up. So every once in a while, I'll try something from time to time. That's something that's different. But I try to keep things pretty basic. Big Will Dog 82 in the soil. Do you think Will Dog 82 in the soil will take your garlic crown next year? No, I don't. I just simply don't think you have it in you. I mean, seriously, I am the king. What do you think, you're gonna dethrone this guy? Seriously, don't think it's gonna happen. Cheers, Will. Love you, man. John Gibson -Z3W. What turned you on to comfrey? So I was, this has been several years ago. I've been working on trying to get some mulch in the garden for around my plants and to have things somewhat organic, I guess, if you want to call it, something natural that I could do. I was putting grass clippings around my plants, but then, you know, people put chemicals on their grass clippings and then that causes problems in your garden and stuff like that. I didn't want any of that stuff on there. I tried straw, and then I found out I was getting more weeds that way. I tried wood chips, but then it was hard to dig in, and then I always had to clear them off to the side and different things like that. I found this comfrey plant from somebody on YouTube. I really wish I would have known that video and jotted it down what I watched. This was before I had my channel. So I really wish I would have jotted that down. Since then, it has grown. I started with probably 10 root stalks, and I planted actually around my propane tank and in front of some of my beds. And then from there, I probably got 70, 80 plants that I've rooted out from all those root stocks that I have. So I got plenty of comfrey to cover all my beds now. I got plenty of mulch. Stuff works fantastic for mulch. I know you can use it for medicinal purposes. I know you can use it for a tea, different things like that. But my main thing here is it functions as a mulch and putting that nutrients back into the soil. Hippie Chick Homestead asks, what's the biggest mistake you've ever made and how did you recover from it? Let's see here. What is the biggest mistake that I have ever made? I feel like one of the biggest mistakes that I've made was not labeling my plants. And I'm still suffering from that a little bit. I got a spot of mint out here that will not go away. For some reason or other, when I planted it in there, it was real tiny when I planted it in. I thought it was comfrey, or not comfrey, I thought it was celery. And when I planted that in there, I thought, oh, I'm gonna have a ton of celery this year. I got a ton of celery plants. Nope, it was mint. And now that stuff is kind of spreading. I haven't recovered from it. I kind of, like I said, when God gives you mint, you make tea. That's what I've been doing. I've been trying to make the most of it. I mean, I hack and slash that stuff as much as possible, and it still comes back. I mean, I wish potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, all those plants were like that. We'd be in abundance of plants, but man, mint is probably one of the biggest mistakes I've made in the garden, was not labeling plants and planting something that's kind of invasive, and then whew, off it went. Okay, last but not least, one of my favorite subscribers here is Wendy Burston 3132. Hey Wendy, shout out to you. Love all your comments on my videos. I really appreciate you. So, first off, she wants to know what's on my necklace. Sometimes I'm wearing my necklace, sometimes I'm not, but that is technically my microphone. So I usually have that out there. She wants to know, will Mrs. Croc make a cameo appearance in the future? I'm sure she will. She'll make a cameo appearance one of these days. She did, if you go back about this time of year, you go back, we went to the pumpkin patch as a family. She's in that video if you guys want to say hi to her. Go out there and leave a comment for her. Do I have a green stock? I have not gone into the green stock phase yet. I probably have room for a green stock. I always thought about getting one. I know I'm not big enough a channel for green stock to be watching, but hey, if you're watching, why don't you just send me one? I'll have a green stock. Have you ever regretted adding something to your garden or landscape? Yes, I added that mint. I'm really not happy with it, but hey, I'm getting tea out of it. Is there a plant you have trouble growing that you've given up on, or that everyone else can grow in your area that puzzles you because it won't grow in your soil conditions, etc.? I would have to honestly say that, as far as to answer that question, Brussels sprouts. I can grow broccoli, but it's just not the heading style broccoli. But definitely Brussels sprouts. I'd love to grow Brussels sprouts. I think others around me can. I don't know if they can or not, but that's a couple. Those are probably two of the biggest plants that I'd like to try. I'd like to be able to freeze the Brussels sprouts. I'd like to be able to freeze the broccoli and be able to eat it in the wintertime and produce more food for my family that way. But I just haven't figured out all the little tricks. And you know, tricks for my area might be totally different for tricks for another area. So I got to find out what works for me. So that's just something I need to work on. Am I going to use shade cloth this next year? I probably won't. I really haven't had a need to use shade cloth. We're not really all that hot, but we do get a lot of heat, but doesn't tend to stick around for a while, maybe a week or so. If it stuck around for longer than that, we'd be in trouble. But so far we haven't had that type of heat. Maybe in the future I'll try to use some shade cloth. Is there anything that grew this so well this year that you're going to have plenty of that you're not going to grow next year? Well, this year is an example of that. Last year I had so many tomatoes that I didn't need to grow as many tomatoes this year. This year I didn't grow as many tomatoes, even though I had like probably 30 some plants. But I did scale down all my plants quite a bit. I got a lot of tomato stuff down in the basement. However, I do know that I'm going to run out of some tomato juice this year, so I got to can some more of that this year. But luckily I have tomatoes. I don't know. I don't think I got anything this year that's in overabundance that I have to worry about. So next year we're going to stay put. We're going to keep the ball rolling with all the plants that I have this year. But yes, I have done that in the past. Have you ever bought any bad soil that ruins your garden? No, I've actually been lucky in this sense. I really haven't bought soils per se as much as just for like the seedling mix and stuff like that. Most of the stuff I kind of produce myself with my own compost and different things like that. So, but I've gotten truckloads of soil in before. It wasn't the greatest soil. It wasn't bad soil. I mean, I could grow in it, but it wasn't the greatest soil. But over time, with the use of my comfrey and different worm composting techniques and different things like that, I've really tried to improve my soil. I think it really shows in how good I can produce a tomato and a garlic and onions and stuff like that. How big those things get. I think that really kind of shows in my soil quality. I did do a soil test this last year, and it did said that I was high in phosphate and phosphorus, phosphate, and potassium. I was high in those areas. A little bit low in the nitrogen, which is fine because nitrogen's easy. You can just put down more nitrogen with some fish emulsion oils and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with my soil. Last but not least, would you accept a chip drop? To be honest with you, I've tried accepting chip drops. They just don't have it around in my area. I've signed up for that list. The only time I've gotten a chip drop was if I see them out on the street and I stopped and I said, hey, when you guys get done, just drop that load off at my house. For a while there, the town that I live in, they have a place where they drop all the chips off. And I was able to go up there because I had a brother-in-law that worked up there, and he would load me up with the tractor, load me up in the cart, and I do about 3 loads a summer. I'm going to change that next year. I got something in the works. Hopefully it'll work out, so I won't need the wood chips. Typically I use the wood chips in my pathways as a mulch. We're going to see how that works out. There'll be more to come on that. So if you guys like what I'm doing here, want to see the next one of these, I appreciate you guys all watching. Click that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate all you guys. God bless.